Hello, Martin. You're up next.
Hey, Bart, how you doing? Nice to meet you out in Vegas
Oh, that's right.
at the meetup.
Oh, yeah. We did meet at the meetup. How's it going?
My name's Martine. Close enough.
Oh, yeah, I do. I remember you. And where is this one played out of?
So Caesars. Well, I was out there last week.
Oh, okay, cool. All right. So trip report kind of hand like Ryan Nash. So Caesars, I like to call it battle poker. Maybe not so much during the day, but at night because the nightclub is right there. I remember playing at the old Caesars room where there was actually a poker room. And I think the nightclub is actually there. But now Caesars poker room's in the middle of the floor, right? With a sports book behind it, a lot of distraction, a lot of loudness.
I've heard they're going to remodel it here in a couple of months. We'll see what they move it or what they're going to do with it.
So what size game here were you playing at Caesars?
1-3, $400 max.
1-3.
Villain had 400. I had about 475.
All right, so 400 effective. 1-3. I don't know. They used to do a 2-5 uncapped game there, but I heard they had put a cap on the game. I'm not 100% sure now. All right, so this is very small stakes, kind of cap type of structure. One of the things when I was looking to listen to Michael G. race to the $5 blind podcast and the one session that I put in at 510 in Kings, Vegas like pre-flop sizing with amongst a lot of regs was like really, really small. Like I don't know if it happened at 1-3, but like you have a 2-5, somebody raised to 15, 1-3, somebody raised to 9. You just don't see that kind of live pre-flop sizing. What were people raising to in this game?
Yeah, mostly it was like a $10 raise, $11. I was playing pretty aggressive. There was 2 limpers in the pot. Like the first 2 people, early positions limped. And I looked down in the cutoff at 9-7 of spades. So I just made it 15. I was playing pretty aggressive and wanted to use my position.
But what was the normal open you said without limps?
10 or 11.
I mean, I would tend to make that probably 20. It's just something subtle just to add 2 limps hero in the cutoff with 9-7 of spades here. If there was 1 limp, I would definitely get on board with this. I always advocate just sort of ignoring a limp unless there's some like frequency that someone's like trapping, and then I would just open kind of the hands that I normally open with. Here there are 2 limps.
And it was a really passive table. Like I normally don't raise a lot of suited 1-gappers from the cutoff, but I was just wanted to capitalize on just a lot of people playing really passive.
I just feel like, if I was going to do that with the hand, another reason for like making it just sizing up a little bit is you get it more heads up often than like getting it. You're almost making like a juicer raise with this type of hand. In a heavily sort of dropped environment, this is probably just a fold after 2 limps. In a game where there's like time or it's a very low rake, I could sometimes see over limping here from cutoff or button sometimes. Here you go to 15. Okay, and what happens here?
So small blind called, and then the middle position called, the other limper folded.
So small blind calls, MP call. Okay, MP call. And then, so we're at like 45-ish, something like that. Okay.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And the flop was 2 of spades, 3 of spades, 9 of hearts.
9 of hearts, 3 of spades, 2 of spades. So you flop top pair and a flush draw.
Yeah.
Okay.
Small blind checked, middle position checked.
Mm-hmm.
So the action's on me.
Yeah.
And kind of following your past logic, I bet 20 into the flop. It was multi-way. I didn't want to commit too much to it, but I felt like I probably have the best hand majority of the time, and it's kind of a pot that I obviously build.
Yeah, I mean, especially like in nitty Vegas games, I could even sometimes even see betting smaller than this. Is the polar opposite of a board where kind of like the first call or like a 2 flush board on the top side. Like if it's like king, queen, 5 with a 2 flush and you've got like a set of queens, or like king, queen, where you're just pretty much always sizing up in single raise pots. Here, this is like always like the almost the exact texture of a really good triple barrel bluff board in a certain situation. I mean, it's a 2 flush. It's just really hard for people to have like hands that can call down across multiple streets. The other interesting thing here is because you have a 9 in your hand, there's less of a chance that someone has a 9 for top pair. You also have front door spades, meaning that there's less of a chance that someone's got front door spades. I think 20 is fine. I actually might even go slightly smaller. It's the idea of a 1/3 sizing in live poker. Sometimes it's actually a little bit more than that just because it's live poker. So, okay, you go 20.
Yeah, so small blind doesn't take very long and check raises to 75.
Oh, that's interesting. Because the reason why that's interesting is because, he should never have any 2 pair here, right?
No, I mean, you could have the twos or threes or
Sure.
maybe pocket nines, but yeah, you shouldn't really have 2, 3 suited. Maybe give him one combination of the four, maybe, like it's not going to show up a whole lot.
Yeah, I mean, this is really almost like repping sets or combo, like some sort of, I mean, that's for thick value, right? I mean, it's not like you went super tiny. I mean, guys that are going to flat here with like tens or jacks, would they check raise the flop? So would a guy find a check raise on the flop with ace nine? Maybe once in a while, but that is somewhat peculiar. All right, so he goes to 75, yep.
And then, so this is, which I was cool with, but the middle position player called all in for his last $71.
So the MP calls all in for like, we'll call it 70 to make it even. So he was kind of short. This other guy is the guy that's 400 effective with you, right?
The small blind is the villain, yeah.
So here goes 20, small blind is 75, MP calls all in. So now the pot is like 210 and it's 55 for basically for you to call with one guy all in, right?
You're right.
So I think I remember something about what you said here in this particular hand because I want to bring it up, but I don't know if I necessarily agree with you. This is in the email. One of the worst case scenarios for someone to be in and hold them is when you're up against a made hand and another hand that has a better draw than you. You almost sometimes can have like 0% equity. And what I mean by that is that if the guy in the small blind has like, a set and the guy in MP has like queen jack of spades, like you have almost 0%. I mean, you could find some backdoor equity or flip it around, whether that combination is small blind has the higher one. Still though, at getting like 4-1 here in position, with a propensity for the small blind to more lean towards a value hand here because of the check raise, as opposed to like a combo draw, I still have to continue here getting these pot odds in position. You can still make money on the side also from the small blind here. I just think that if you are considering folding, I just think it's a little bit too nitty. You might be seeing some monsters under the bed here. And I think this is just, as a continue, it's almost always a call because you don't want to just be a sputard and then jam back like over the top somehow with like 9-7 of spades and like run into pocket threes.
Yeah. Yeah. So I really went in the tank and I felt like my spade draw was probably not good, that someone likely had a better spade draw. And I really just gave the small blind, I guess, too much credit. I guess I was seeing monsters under the bed. And I tank folded.
Wow, it's for 50 more.
Yeah.
50 more for 210.
Yeah, I felt like that, I even gave the small blind like ace nine, king nine, or the small sets. And I thought the middle position probably had just big spades.
Uh-huh.
So I figured my spade draw is no good. And if they have me out kicked on my 9, I have a 7 kicker. Even if he has 9-10.
Right. If he's doing if he's doing it with the 9 and then someone else has spades, right?
Bigger spade, I'm like, and I don't know.
I mean, there are a couple of combo draws that are actually lower than your spade draw, like 4-5 of spades, 4-6 of spades. I mean, the wheel draws are obviously higher, like ace 4 and ace 5, and you have the 9x of spades. But
yeah, I just thought a 4-5 of spade type of hand would have just called. But yeah,
I would just have a hard time. Maybe it's the confidence in my ability in position to kind of suss out what's going on. I would have a hard time folding given these pot odds, and I would be aware of that possibility.
Yeah,
I would be aware of that possibility. But hero folds, and what was the result here?
So the turn was it was another 9, and then the river was the 6 of clubs.
Okay.
And small blind revealed 4-5 of spades for the nut straight, and then the other player had big spades. He had king jack of spades or something like that.
He had spades too.
Yeah, so we all three had a spade draw.
Wow. So MP with like king jack of spades. So you're up against king jack of spades, 4-5 of spades, and you have 9-7 of spades.
Yeah.
It's interesting because you do have to dodge some cards, but you probably, I would think you're an equity favorite with all the dead spades out here too.
I was 36% on the flop. I did. So I was a small favorite, but definitely didn't have as much equity as maybe it looks like on the surface.
What's interesting here is that if you played the hand the way that I advocated it, although you start to get not that deep though. because you only start with 400.
Yeah, we're only 100, 120
Yeah.
big.
Say you call the check raise from the small blind. Now the turn's a 9. He probably is going to continue. I mean, first of all, he's not supposed to be pipping 4-5 of spades, but if he's raising with a combo draw and then top pair pairs, he's probably going to continue with a bet. And then I was just thinking, like, if you were deeper, let's say you called again, and then you you lose at the end, but then he goes for 3 streets. I probably would have lost more. I don't know, depending on, bet sizing, not with these stack sizes. You wonder at the end, can you make a tough fold there with 9-7 of spades? But you're just giving a guy basically 3s and deuces or 4-5 of spades. But
yeah, and you kind of hit it on the head. Like, we're only playing 100 big blinds deep, so or 120 big blinds deep. So if I call his check raise, I'm already committing like a quarter of my stack. Like, I'm already getting, I don't know, and I just didn't feel comfortable with where I was.
yeah, well, I appreciate the call. Thank you very much.